The beautiful Elands Pass on the N4 in Mpumalanga will always be remembered once driven. It has an abundance of scenic beauty, with waterfalls, a railway line looping under and over the road, history in abundance, and a beautifully engineered tarred road to make for a comfortable journey. Perhaps the only detraction is that the N4 is a very busy road with lots of heavy-duty commercial traffic. The pass connects Machadodorp, now called Eindhoven in the west, with Nelspruit in the east. The historic town of Varthur, now called Mgwenya, lies at the western end of the pass. This is a fairly long pass at 13.3 kilometers, and it gains 360 meters in altitude, producing a gentle average gradient of 1 in 37, with the steepest parts being near the western summit at 1 in 11. From the eastern start, the road disappears around a wide left-hand curve into the Elands River Valley, with the mountains looming ever larger on either side of the road. The gradient along the first 6 kilometers is a very gentle 1 in 30, as it is more in line with the gradients of poorts rather than passes, but things do get a lot steeper towards the second half of the pass. The perennial Elands River feeds a lush valley with dense subtropical vegetation, with well-manicured farms lining the valley on both sides, producing crops like avocado pears and nuts. The first left-hand curve brings the heading into the south until the 3.1 kilometer mark, where the first of 5 bridges are crossed. Shortly after this bridge, the road swings into a right-hand bend of 90 degrees, changing the direction back into the west. Just after this bridge, there is a signboard on the left marking the access road to the small but fascinating Kruger Hof Museum, which is well worth a visit. Close to the museum is a memorial grave dating back to the Anglo-Boer War of 1899. The next landmark is the Varthur railway station, which is close to the left-hand side of the road. Immediately after the station, there's a minor road turning off to the right. On the opposite side of the N4, there's a gravel road which follows the mountain ridge on the Doornhoek farm into the north. This is known as the Oakwood Spot, or translated as the Old Coach Road. At the 7 kilometer mark, make sure you stop at the old 5 Arches Bridge. This is a beautiful sandstone bridge built with graceful arches which took traffic over the river in the earlier part of the 1900s. Soon the road arrives at the short tunnel, and remember to switch your lights on. You might also notice the railway line snaking in and out of the ravines on the northern side of the valley, with the railway line crossing under the road at the Elands River itself. Just before the tunnel entrance is a smaller road to the right, which will take you to the historic Casm Tunnel, which was built in 1893. The rail tunnel is 200 meters long, and the only rack railway in the country ran through it. The tunnel was closed and the line abandoned in 1908. Varthur, which lies just to the left of the road, was essentially a railway junction in its heyday, with most of the inhabitants being railway employees. It was a dusty, polluted, noisy place with a constant toing and froing of dozens of steam trains. The town was essentially a big railway shunting yard and went into decline after the steam era came to an end in 1966. Paul Kruger once lived in the lower village of Varthur. Today, the town is a favored rock climbing area and is also popular for trout fishing. The final and more serious climb out of the valley commences at the bridge at the 9.4 kilometer mark. The road climbs up the eastern side of the river valley, offering some good views to the left of the railway line mimicking the course of the river, with the town of Varthur tucked into the various loops. The pass ends at the 13.3 kilometer mark at an altitude of 1,525 meters.